Good evening, traders, and welcome to The Future's Yours. This is a recap of my trades for today, Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. Honestly, bit of a rough day. Got stopped out a lot, broke even a lot, couple winners, couple losers, wasn't doing so good, almost called it quits, but then brought it all back. I'm just going to go through, show you my trades for today, why I took some of the trades, what I could have done differently on some of the trades. I'm trading the NASDAQ 100 futures on a 1-minute chart on my Take Profit Trader 50K evaluation account. If you want to try out Take Profit Trader, I have a link in the description. So starting off, market opened here, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. Trying to avoid the first 15 minutes, but I struggle with that a lot. I tend to break my rule, and you'll see that it's not a good thing to break your rules. Ended up coming up, this was the overnight high that I marked out. Happened to be another all-time high. Broke out of here, shot down really fast, retested my EMAs, and when I saw this big wick come back up and start to break the high again, got in for a long, thinking it was going to continue up. Definitely didn't. Shot straight back down. Probably here what I should have done was wait for it to actually break back out, come down and retest this zone, see if it turned into support before getting in. Seemed like this was just a big fake out, came down, ended up retesting the resistance, came back down. So I got stopped out there. Was down $260 after commissions. We came down, hit the 200 EMA here, started to bounce up. Again, I saw a nice wick wanting to push price up. Ended up entering here, try to break out the top again. And we were forming this nice trend line here that actually went back from the overnight. And on this trade, once it started to break up, I knew we were coming up to this resistance zone again. So right during this candle, I moved my stop to break even. I'm glad I did because we perfectly rejected off of my pre-marked zone again, came down, hit my stop for break even, still down $260. Came back down to this trend line here, had a nice little bounce here, came up a bit, shot down super hard, and when I saw this wick go just below and come back up, my thought was this was a big liquidity grab, trying to trap more sellers down here, build liquidity so the buyers could take over again. So my choice was to enter long right at the break of this candle wick here. Ended up shooting up, and when I saw this wick form, I had already moved my stop to break even, but I ended up moving my stop into profit right about here at 7:45. So I thought we were grabbing more liquidity up here above the resistance. Came back down, hit my stop, but then ended up shooting up right to where my target would have been. So here, I probably could have held it, but I didn't want to take the risk. I got stopped out for about $260 profit, which brought me up to plus $10 on the day. My idea was just to make up my loss from the second trade, or the first trade rather. So I was happy with that. On to the next trade. Again, we came up above the overnight high, came down, got this big wick when it bounced back up. Really quickly moved down. So there I entered short, thinking that was another fake out to the upside for sellers to push price back down. I ended up being right in the long run, but when we came down here and hit my trend line from before, I moved my stop to break even, came up, hit that, retested this resistance, and shot down to where my target would have been. I guess on that one, I could have held it, but I think moving up here, I would have been down about $125 in drawdown. That would have stressed me out. I was fine going break even on that one. Still kept me at zero on the day after a little bit of slippage. I lost that $10 profit. Then things started to take a turn. We broke this trend line, Came up, wicked off the EMAs above the trend line. I thought I was retesting the trend line, turning it into a resistance level. So I entered here to go short. Didn't work out at all. Shot straight up. In this case, I do kind of have a rule not to enter on doji candles. This is kind of a doji here, another doji. That's basically buyers and sellers fighting over price and no one's winning. So it doesn't really show a clear direction. $250 loss, minus 250 on the day. Came up above my resistance again, and at this point, I had moved this zone up to here to mark this double top, because that seemed to be our new resistance level for the day. Since we had broken my previous one multiple times, and it wasn't really reacting off of it anymore, it didn't feel necessary to keep it there. Have to be dynamic in trading, do what the price is telling you. So when price broke my new resistance zone, got this huge wick, looked like another trap. Once we wicked off of the resistance again, started moving down on this candle, entered short here, and I like to trade with a set 50 tick stop loss, $250, just so I know what I'm risking every time, and I don't have to guess where to put my stop. And in this case, right here, hit my stop by 1 point. Lost 250 on that trade. After that, minus 505 on the day after commissions. But then, the trade of the day happened. And this made up for all this choppy mess this morning. We came up, created this big wick again, rejected hard off of that zone, and I re-entered right about here when this candle was forming. I know I have my position box way over here, I just didn't want to overlap them. So I entered right about here, and I had my stop above this wick, a little further than normal, so I was risking a little more, even though I was already down on the day. But this seemed like a really strong move. It was a really nice retest. Came up again, retested again, started coming down. At this point, I was feeling really good about the price going down. So we had wick, 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 all moving down with a flat level here. And that showed me that the sellers were really trying to squeeze down. When that happens, generally you have a pretty explosive move after. But I didn't want to enter early, have a lot of risk on 2 contracts, so I placed a stop order right below this level. So right when price, or if price, broke that level, it would enter me into a second position. Wicked again here, started moving down, and right here is where that second contract got filled, and it just exploded downwards. And right when it got around this 200 EMA, I ended up taking off one of the contracts to lock in some profit, and I had my second target at about a 3-to-1 right at the bottom of this wick here. Came up, almost hit my break-even stop on my runner, and then another really explosive move down. I was able to sit on my hands on that one and let it go fully to my profit target. And between those 2 contracts, that trade was about a $1,080 profit, bringing me to plus 575 on the day. And after that, I really had to call it quits because I was getting stressed out all in this zone. And I don't like overtrading. I was already down quite a bit. If I had lost this one here, I would have been at my max loss for the day on my prop account. But right here, this is a great example of even if you enter a trade thinking price is going to go one way and you get stopped out, it doesn't mean your analysis was wrong. May have just been a little too early. The execution could have been a little different. Here, I could have waited for the retest, but even though you get stopped out, it's okay to try again if the setup forms again. So I saw big wick, entered, lost. Big wick, entered again, and it ended up going in my favor. And here, I made 4 times what I would normally risk on a trade. I only had a 50% win rate today and ended up positive. That's the importance of risk reward. If you want to see the live recording of me taking these trades, click the video you see on your right, and be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more. As always, stay safe, stay profitable, and the future's yours.